Cette semaine, l'extra interview reçoit Skin, chanteuse engagée et ultra charismatique du groupe de rock british Skunk Anansie depuis plus de 20 ans. Une femme incassable et inclassable dont la fougue et la rage scénique dissimulent une douceur surprenante. Qu'est-ce qui remue cette féministe sur petit et grand écran? Réponse pour le moins inattendue dans les loges du Bataclan, quelques heures avant le concert du groupe.
On your website, I found the perfect first sentence for this interview, which is yours, where you say you have to dip your fingers in other art forms in order to create something wonderful.
Yes.
So how does cinema fit into this?
Because I think that cinema is very cinematic in the way that it's inspirational in terms of creating atmospheres. You know, if you watch a Tarantino atmosphere, you know, he really is amazing at creating this like undercurrent, this darkness, this weirdness, this kind of, whoa, what's going to happen next? But then you watch something like, I know one of my favourite movies is Happiness, and I forget the director. It's just surreal, and the colours are blanched out. So I think that is that when you're connecting, when you're thinking of songs, it's the same kind of thing. You're creating an atmosphere in people's heads when you're writing certain lyrics. You're trying to get across to them how you feel about something. So when you create words, when you create melodies, when you create songs, I see it in a cinematic way. You know, I'm thinking of, you know, what's the song? I am falling you. Every time I hear that melody, I think of the desert. You know,
Yeah.
I think of the car in the desert, the petrol station.
Baghdad Cafe.
Yeah, Baghdad
soundtrack,
Cafe,
yeah.
you know, and I think that's where you can really, for me, when I think about music, when I think about melodies, I see an image, I see a room, I see a person, I see a shop, I see something. And that's what I'm trying to find the words for. I'm trying to conjure up that image that I see and trying to get everyone else to see the same thing. Doesn't always work.
Have you ever like watched a movie and run to your notebook and have like a song flow into you just thanks to what the story you've
Lots
seen?
of times, yeah. I think that sometimes what a movie can do is it can spark something that's in you already.
Yes.
You know, it sparks like a thought. For instance, I just went to see La La Land for the first 10 minutes, like, oh God, I'm in a musical. And then after a while, it kind of got moving. And by the end of it, I was like, wow, I really like the way they ended it. I shouldn't spoil it for people, but that's how life is. Life isn't a bed of roses. It doesn't all end up perfectly. Sometimes, like, you're just meeting someone at the wrong time in their life and the wrong time in your life. And that definitely happened to me recently. I met someone who I was with 10 years ago. And actually, now we're in a much better position to be in something together because 10 years ago, we were both too crazy.
You could just write your own rules, you know, write something that's as interesting as you are.
What are you going to do?
I have my own club.
Is that gonna happen every time?
I think so.
You've had songwriters and singers like Eddie Vedder of Pearl Jam doing the soundtrack for Into the Wild, or Alex Turner of Arctic Monkeys for Submarine. Is there a special type of movie you feel you'd like to do the whole music of it, a story you'd like to put a soundtrack on?
I would love to do the soundtrack for kind of like an Asian extreme movie.
Oh yeah, okay.
Because I've kind of like got into genre maybe like the original Old Boy, you know, that around that time. And I'd just been watching a few movies again, and I thought, oh, it would be so fun to do a soundtrack. Because, you know, the thing about the Asian extreme is really violent, it's really aggressive, but there's an art form to the art. It's not just aggression for aggression's sake. There's a beauty and an art form to it. But at the same time, they're quite experimental and quite weird movies as well, you know, and they're quite dark. So I think it would be quite interesting to create sound for something like that.
Nowadays, many people say it's mostly on television that you find the strongest story that you can find. I don't know, a real-life story of a transgender father in Transparent, or, you know, really go deep in the human relationship.
Exactly,
Do you feel that?
I think that TV has really opened up. It started to open up maybe 10 years ago when you started getting Hollywood actors doing TV shows. And so you were bringing a different kind of edge to TV shows because these people were kind of demanding something a lot deeper, a lot more interesting. And also, I think with the advent of cable, you started having these shows like Breaking Bad that were mainstream television would never have been interested in. One of the ones I loved was Nurse. Did you ever see Nurse Jackie?
Yeah, of course.
That was
Yeah.
fantastic because you thought it was one thing and it just gets weirder and weirder and weirder. And I think that's kind of much more like normal life, you know, in some ways. It's weird and it's experimental and it's like you've got such a great character who's a drug addict, you know. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, there's a lot of personality. When someone's a good person, it's not all of them that is good. Sometimes it's just part of them that's good. And I think that's a really interesting thing to explore.
I killed my marriage. I f***ed up my kids. I'm the reason that Eddie has a gun to his head. I think I need to go to rehab.
I think you can still count on one hand the shows that are, you know, where you have strong women involved in them, you know. And Hollywood is slowly getting there, but, you know, it's hard to find strong female characters in Hollywood movies nowadays.
You studied interior design.
Yes.
Do you think it might have shaped, maybe in a way, your rise as a movie watcher?
I think that definitely shaped my design sensibilities and my connection to movies, because as a student, what you do, you sit there and you watch the latest movies. And I love all movies. I love old movies. You know, I like to watch movies at a certain time. So, like at Christmas, I have to watch 2 movies every Christmas. I have to watch The Sound of Music.
Yeah.
And I have to watch My Fair Lady.
Really? Every Christmas?
Every Christmas. Christmas is not Christmas until I've seen those 2 movies. Because they're so Christmassy to me.
Yeah.
And then this time I watched It's a Wonderful Life, which I'd never seen before. And my friend said, "Oh, you've got to go and see it." So we went to a really nice cinema and we watched A Wonderful Life, which was absolutely brilliant. And now it's my new Christmas movie. So for 3, My Fair Lady, Wonderful Life, and Sound of Music. Yeah.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
I like the idea.
I know, because I like soppy movies too.
Quelles scènes et personnages Skin avait-elle en tête en composant Anarchitecture, le dernier album du groupe? On laisse votre imagination en décider.